Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Kathryn Restelli. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Kathryn Restelli was born in 1987 and lived in Trabuco Canyon, California. This town is 54 miles southeast of Los Angeles. In 2016, she married a man named Matthew Clark Restelli, who had been born in 1982. The couple went on to have 2 children. Due to marital problems, Kathryn left California on June 20, 2024. She took her 2 children to American Fork, Utah, which is 31 miles south of Salt Lake City. Kathryn stayed with her mother, Tracy Grist. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On Friday, July 12, 2024, at 10:09 p.m., a neighbor of Kathryn's mother, Tracy Grist, called 911 and reported hearing gunshots from Tracy's house. The neighbor heard the gunshots at 10:07 p.m., 2 minutes earlier. At 10:15 p.m., Tracy Grist called the police and reported that her son, Kevin, had shot the husband of her daughter, Kathryn. When the police arrived, they found 42-year-old Matthew Restelli dead inside the house. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. Other than Matthew, there were 5 people in the house at the time of the shooting. 36-year-old Kathryn Restelli, her 33-year-old brother, Kevin Stanley Ellis, her 59-year-old mother, Tracy Grist, and Kathryn's 2 children, ages 6 and 9. Officers learned that Matthew arrived at the house at 10:06 p.m. He was captured on video surveillance. This is just 1 minute before the neighbor heard the gunshots. His pickup truck was parked in front of the house. Matthew had been shot once in the chest and multiple times in the back. He was on his stomach, and there was a knife in his right hand. Kathryn told the police that Matthew drove from California to Utah in order to speak with her. With his attorney present, Kevin was interviewed by the police. He said he was afraid for his life and shot someone in self-defense. At this point, his attorney did all the talking. Kevin's attorney told the police that Matthew had arrived at the house and entered without permission. Matthew did not ring the doorbell, and he did not knock on the door. The unexpected entry into the house took Kevin and his mother by surprise. Matthew was in an agitated state and carrying a knife. Kevin was afraid for his life and shot Matthew in self-defense. Despite this effort by Kevin's attorney, Kevin Ellis was arrested for felony murder, obstruction of justice, possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person, 2 counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child, and possession of a controlled substance. The last charge was because cocaine was found in Kevin's bedroom. The police continued to investigate and found evidence that Kathryn and her mother Tracy had conspired with Kevin to murder Matthew. On October 29, 2024, Kathryn Restelli and Tracy Grist were arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction of justice, and 2 counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child. Now moving to my analysis. Kevin Ellis maintains his innocence, arguing that he killed Matthew in self-defense. The state has argued that not only was Kevin guilty, but he was in a conspiracy with Kathryn and Tracy. This brings me to the question, are these 3 individuals guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea they were guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Kevin admitted that he shot Matthew to death. Based on Kevin's criminal history, he was not permitted to possess a firearm. One could argue that he only reached for the firearm due to being threatened, but the police found that he was wearing a holster. There was a knife found in Matthew's right hand, but Matthew was left-handed. The blade of the knife was facing toward Matthew's body instead of away from it, and the finger grip contour of the knife handle was pressing into Matthew's palm instead of fitting into his fingers. Matthew was holding the knife the wrong way. In April 2020, over 4 years before the killing, Tracy purchased a semi-automatic pistol chambered in 9mm. This is the same caliber used in the shooting. In April 2024, Tracy traveled to California to help a friend with estate planning after the friend's husband died. The husband had been subscribed to a company which sent mystery boxes to him. One of the items, sometimes placed in the mystery boxes, was a knife manufactured by the same company that manufactured the knife found in Matthew's right hand. There is no record of Matthew purchasing a knife like this. On May 13, 2024, about 2 months before the murder, Kathryn sent a text message to a friend saying something like, "I am trying to wait. I might just murder Matt today, though." It seemed clear that Matthew was intent on getting Kathryn to move back to California. 2 days before the killing, Kathryn sent a text message to her mother, Tracy, indicating that Matthew did not want to drive to Utah and was sending her money for a rental car. So he wanted Kathryn to rent a vehicle and drive to California. Tracy suggested that Kathryn fake an injury to her ankle and just keep putting Matthew off. On the day of the killing, Kathryn made a social media post that read, quote, "I have to do a big girl thing this morning. Wish me luck," unquote. In Matthew's truck, the police found a cloth storage drawer containing a number of items, including receipts, magazines, and snacks. In the bottom of the drawer, there was an AirTag tracking device. Cell phone data indicated that Kathryn, Tracy, and Kevin were able to monitor the location of that AirTag. On June 20, the same day Kathryn left California for Utah, she had received a text message from her sister that read, quote, "I'll be watching the AirTag and let you know as soon as it updates," unquote. Kathryn's sister also sent her a screenshot of a map indicating a location which was close to where Matthew lived. 6 minutes before the killing, Kathryn sent a text message to her brother which read, "Keep an eye on Find My." This appears to be a reference to the app Find My, which is used to track the location of AirTags. 1 day after the killing, Kathryn called the same friend who she texted on May 13 and informed the friend that Matthew was dead. The friend offered Kathryn condolences, but Kathryn said, "It's okay. I'm happy." Later that day, Kathryn went on a video call with her friends and informed them about her husband's death. She showed them the location of where he died, which was stained with blood. There were no messages on Kathryn's phone consistent with her telling Matthew not to come to Utah to pick her up. She also never said anything about refusing to return with him to California. Kathryn actually seemed to be encouraging Matthew to drive out to Utah. For example, she helped him choose roads to take, gave him Tracy's address, and supplied him with the code for the gate at the front of the neighborhood. Tracy lived in a gated community. After Matthew arrived, Kathryn asked him, "Are you going to come inside?" When he didn't answer, she asked him the same question again. Matthew responded yes. Kathryn said, "Okay, the front door is always unlocked." Okay. This makes it sound like Kathryn was trying to get Matthew to enter the house. The search history of Kathryn's mother, Tracy, in the weeks leading up to the shooting, appeared to indicate an intense interest in firearms, custody issues, and the Dan Markel murder case out of Florida. Dan Markel was a lawyer who had been married to a woman named Wendy Adelson. They were in a contentious custody dispute when he was murdered. Wendy's brother, Charlie Adelson, was convicted for the murder, and just after this, Wendy's mother, Donna Adelson, was arrested and charged with the murder. This is a notorious case that I've covered in 2 other videos. It has attracted a lot of media attention. Here is what Tracy searched for. Keep in mind, I have corrected some of the spelling and grammar errors. On June 7, 2024, how old were Dan Markel's kids when Dan was killed? On June 16, Utah gun law registration, Utah shoot break-in, how does private sale of firearms work in Utah, how to establish Utah residency, and to file for divorce if wife is a Utah resident and husband is California resident. The next day, June 17, how to get my U.S. passport fast and apply for a child's U.S. passport. On June 22, what is mom takes kids for overstate line visit and dad doesn't agree? What are the legal implications of taking your kids on vacation without the other parent's permission? If my child's father and I do not have a custody agreement in place, can he take my child and not return them back to? And what to do, parental kidnapping and no custody order. On June 27, Cemetery, American Fork. On June 28, Cemetery near Alpine. On June 30, Adelson, Donna. Adelson Donna movies and TV shows, and new Dateline episode, January 19, Donna Adelson arrested at the airport. On July 11, when was Donna Adelson arrested? And finally, on July 12, 2024, the day of Matthew's killing, Tracy searched for "It's Happening" meme, presumably the meme featuring Steve Carell as Michael Scott from The Office. Tracy called 911 at 10:15 p.m. that day, but the gunshots were heard by the neighbor at 10:07 p.m. What took Tracy so long? Why did it take 8 minutes? To be fair, based on Tracy's search history, hitting the correct key on a cell phone is not her specialty. Kathryn claimed that Kevin retrieved the firearm from a safe in the garage, but Matthew had not moved too far into the house. If Matthew's intent was to harm people with the knife he was supposedly carrying, why didn't he advance into the house? Kathryn would have people believe that Matthew was pretty cordial for a home invader intent on destruction. Like when Kevin went to get the pistol from the garage, Matthew said, "I'll wait here. Take your time. I know how it is. Being attacked by a homicidal home invader is very stressful. I am patient. I have nowhere else to be." It's more likely that Matthew would have simply charged into the house and attacked people like any self-respecting home invader. Now moving to the exculpatory factors. This is going to be a pretty short section because there aren't really any exculpatory factors. When considering the evidence in this case, do I believe that Kathryn, Tracy, and Kevin are guilty of murder? Yes, I believe they are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Really beyond almost any doubt at all. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. When Kathryn left California, she wanted to leave her old life behind and start a new life with her children. She wasn't interested in reconciliation. She was not interested in a prolonged custody dispute. Kathryn was completely done and insisted on keeping the children. She wanted to be victorious over Matthew. She and her mother, Tracy, came up with this idea of having Kevin murder Matthew. Maybe they figured he was already a criminal, so he would be easy to convince. They planned on staging the scene as a justified shooting by putting a knife in Matthew's hand after Kevin shot him. The criminal trio had no idea what they were doing and made an unbelievable number of mistakes, among the most mistakes I have ever seen in any murder conspiracy I have covered. The only way this could have been worse for them is if they had all video-recorded confessions. They had no chance of getting away with this crime. One curious element of this case is how Tracy seemed to be a big fan of Donna Adelson. Again, Donna was accused of playing a role in the murder of her son-in-law, Dan Markel. Apparently, Tracy was so excited about Donna's alleged mission, she never bothered to watch the entire story. It does not look like things are going to work out too well for Donna, mostly because of the alleged murder part. A person contemplating homicide, looking to Donna for inspiration, is like a person contemplating a career in blimp design being inspired by the Hindenburg. One would think that finding Donna's story would discourage somebody from pressing forward with a murder conspiracy. It's not all bad news for Tracy, however. She certainly lived up to the legacy of her hero, Donna Adelson. I think this was a case of three extremely unsophisticated criminals who were simply focused on helping Kathryn get custody. Now moving to my final thoughts. A lot of crimes are committed because people see the perceived upside of the crime, the reward, as so valuable, nothing else is considered. Nothing else matters. They are chasing a feeling which becomes all-consuming, like a feeling of success, joy, satisfaction, happiness, revenge, whatever it is. It is everything to them in that moment. They believe that if they can accomplish that feeling, if they can experience that feeling, they will have everything they could ever want. Ultimately, criminal offenders rarely get the reward they expect. Rather, they end up with a lifetime of pain and regret. Those are my thoughts on the case of Kathryn Restelli. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Just a reminder, I have a Patreon account that currently has about 300 pre-release videos on it. These videos are of the same quality as the videos I release on my channel, and they usually stay in pre-release mode for quite some time, typically several months, if not a year. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video.